Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today, I'm going to be making a recipe that claims to be a Depression-era recipe for pancakes. We're going to be taking saltine crackers and making pancakes out of them. So the lore of this recipe says that this was created during times of desperation. He didn't have anything in the pantry. He had some old crackers, maybe they were stale, and you could fix some quick pancakes using crackers, which I find to be believable. You have stale crackers, what can you do with them? I think that's great. Depression era, I wasn't able to substantiate that. Some internet research did not yield any historical matches to a recipe claiming to use saltine crackers specifically, or any kind of crackers for that matter, to make a cake. The oldest recipe I could find was dated on a blog from 2018, but did not include an original recipe. I looked through my cookbook collection and I have this book, which is really great. It's called The Back of the Box Gourmet. I've made several recipes out of this. This is a collection of recipes that were printed on the backs of products, so they were time tested and approved. Lots of good ones in here. And I found, including, look, you can make the Milky Way swirl cake, which I've made, tomato soup cake, which I've also made, easy carrot cake. This is the one that I was curious about. This is the mock apple pie recipe. Now, I've made this recipe twice, and you take Ritz crackers and you can make an apple pie dupe using Ritz crackers, which I think is actually quite ingenious. If you want the whole process and the taste test, I will put all that information down in the description. So some people claim that the mock apple pie recipe came out of times of desperation, specifically during the Great Depression. But here it says Nabisco sheepishly admitted that it's hard to believe that there would be crackers and no apples. So I think this confirms the fact that the mock apple pie recipe is not one that comes from the Great Depression. And I'm not sure if this one is either. I looked at my other books. I have Pioneer cookbooks, common uses for household items. Didn't see anything in there. Mini Tour of Alaska, really great books. Hillbilly cookbook. And I have a Depression era recipe book too. No reference to this recipe, but we're going to make it anyways because I'm very curious about it. The technique is very interesting to me, and I think if it tastes good, it would be a great way to use up stale crackers, because that does happen. You open a sleeve of crackers for a recipe or for cheese and crackers and they get stale, and instead of throwing them out, we can make pancakes. So let's go ahead and test out this recipe. Also, big thanks to my lovelies who got in touch with me via social media to let me know about this recipe, because they too were curious about how it tasted. I'll be following the recipe that I found from a blog called Oh Bite It, and I'll put a link to it down below. So we've got 2 sleeves of crackers, 2 sleeves of saltine crackers, and I'm gonna give them a rough crush while they're in the bag. I imagine you can do this with oyster crackers or water crackers, any kind of plain salted cracker. And then you can open them. So I think this is the way to go. Crush them as they come out of the bag. Now we're going to take our water and pour it over the crackers. This is not a specific amount. It's just to cover the crackers. It is a specific amount. It was about 1 liter. That's how big my container is. And so you just want them to be floating in lots of water, and the crackers will absorb the water. And basically we're going to be creating a mush. So let this sit for about 5 minutes. We really want them kind of soupy in there. So about 2 liters of water, and we will come back after 5 minutes. Okay, so 5 minutes have passed and we still have a soupy mix here, but everything has softened. Now I've got a strainer here in a bowl. I'm going to strain off the excess water. Oops. So we're going to strain the water, and we're left with this mush. And this is going to be the base of our pancakes. So I'm going to put it back into the original bowl, and now we've got some starchy water. guess in the real Depression era days, we'd feed that to the pigs, right? Wouldn't let any of that go to waste. Now, what we're left with is kind of interesting. It's wet, but it's still kind of fluffy. Can you hear that? And it looks a lot like oatmeal. So I'm giving it a stir to make sure there's no big chunks of crackers. And now we're going to add 1 egg. Wow. Okay. Adding 1 egg. And we don't need any salt. Plenty of salt in the crackers. And a splash of vanilla. And that's it. That's our pancake batter. How big do you like your pancakes? At my house, I make them about this big, maybe 3 or 4 inches across. So my friend Amanda makes gigantic pancakes. And when we make them like that, my kids call them Minnesota pancakes. Alrighty, so on that note, let's just go for a bigger size pancake, shall we? All right, so butter everything up. And here we go. I'm gonna do a couple scoops. Smush it down. Definitely a different kind of consistency than a typical pancake batter. So when you're typically making pancakes, when you begin to see air bubbles start to appear on the surface and the edges start to set up, then you know you're close to flipping. And I always like to take a little peek. But these are definitely, this one's definitely not ready. Very loose. Okay, keep going. We are loose. That's good. Might use my burger turner to flip this. That did not flip well. So maybe my batter's a little loose. So on that note, let's make a smaller one. Add some butter. So I think I'm going to finish with butter and fry in oil because I don't want these to taste burnt. Ooh. All right, so just got to do it with conviction and you just got to give it enough time. Let's get this big puppy off and we'll fry another small pair. Yeah. So don't recommend making big ones with this recipe. Yeah, definitely make them on the smaller side. You'll have a better chance at flipping them. All right. So far I have to say the ease of frying is a little tricky. If you're used to regular style pancakes, a little tricky. All right. Okay, I think we have our first stack of pancakes. Okay, lovelies, I have a stack of pancakes. Here they are. These saltine cracker pancakes. I've got 6 of them here. They almost look like savory pancakes, don't they? Now, let us add some butter. Oh, that looks great. And my favorite, maple syrup. Gorgeous. Alrighty, lovelies, let's finally give the saltine cracker pancakes a taste. Here they are, swimming in syrup. Let's give them a taste. Ooh, they feel very soft. Not fluffy like I'm accustomed to. Kind of dense and gummy. Here's the pancake. Looks like a pancake. Let's give it a taste. Itadakimasu. No. The flavor's not bad. You've got vanilla in there, and the syrup, of course, is delicious, and you've got butter. It's hot. It's the texture that's wrong. I think I should have pressed more of the water out. They're very wet and gummy and gluey, but put enough syrup on them, they're pretty good. It's the texture that's wrong. Look at that. See how it's like jiggly? And if I cut into it, see that? It's more doughy than cakey. Yeah. So I think this would be better had I squoze out more of the water, or pressed out the water. Never made this recipe before, had no idea. So if you want to make saltine cracker pancakes, that's what I would suggest. In terms of flavor, if someone were to serve me this, I would never guess that this was made out of rehydrated crackers. It completely loses the flavor and texture. Any hint of crackerness, it's gone. Had these cooked longer on the griddle, maybe they would have dried out more. Yeah. Having said that, I've eaten a good amount of it. I think this recipe can work, but I just need to tweak the texture a little bit. So yeah, would I make it again? Probably not, but in a pinch, it's nice to know that I could do this. All right, my lovelies, now you know how to make pancakes out of crackers. Thanks so much for watching, and definitely check out my Hard Times playlist. I make tons of recipes that were inspired by hard times and desperation. Lots of very ingenious recipes. Alrighty, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Now what? Do you think the chickens will like it? I don't know. We'll see if the kids like it first. I think the kids will like the flavor, but the texture? Questionable.